stands, never retreats. Bronze Star vet, first sergeant strong, fought overseas, now rights the wrong. Hiking with his boy, AR on his back. Cops slammed him down, but he fought back. Video blew up, millions saw the light. Found it open carry, joined the fight. Top of the fight, CJ's the name. Defending rights, playing no game. First Amendment free, second stand tall. Local cops tremble when he makes the call. Top, fight for the free. Arrests and lawsuits, victory. Qualified now, accountability. CJ Grisham set us free. Almost park clash, tased on the ground. Repealed they ban, charges went down. Killing counsel, speech shut tight. Sued the mayor, fought all night. Tarrant County, gun in hand, handcuffed for rights. Took his stand, Iran's is passed. Decorum's changed, removed for words, but broke the reins. Time of the fight, CJ's the name. Defending rights, playing no game. First Amendment free, second stands tall. Local cops tremble when he makes the call. Top, fight for the free. Arrests and lawsuits, victory. Qualified now, accountability. CJ Grisham set us free. Veteran oath, Constitution true. From temple roots to courtrooms new. Bad cops called out, good ones he shields. Patriot lawyer, never yields. If rights get crossed, he's on the line. Open carry Texas, rights divine. Top of the fight. CJ's the name. Playing no game. First and second, hold the line tall. Guys in check when he makes the call. Top fight for the free every day. CJ Grisham leads the way. 10 hut, right secure. Top out. 10 hut.
Hey guys, all right. I hope you like that song. Somebody made that for me. Mr. Thomas Fixer made that for me, and wanted to use that on the video here. So hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's kind of cheesy, I know, but hey, so we've got some great news coming out, and let me just mute my phone here because I'm getting a million freaking calls and notices for some reason. The city of Corpus Christi has a policy, and I noticed this when I went down there last time because I had to do an open records request, and I went down there, and of course you got to go through security or whatever, and I was like, well, I've got a license, and they freaking will have a police officer follow you all over the place if you've got a license to carry. So I think probably what needs to happen, well, it doesn't matter anymore. But if they continue to do that after today's video and after what we're going to be talking about, maybe we need 100 people to go in there that have licenses. And actually, they can't even keep you, even if you don't have a license, as long as you can legally carry. Maybe we need to go down there and see if they can follow 100 of us around going different places, and maybe make that point. But who knows? We'll see what they do afterwards. But one of the things that they do for sure is during their city council meetings, they are banning and prohibiting people with licenses from carrying a firearm into that open meeting, which is in direct violation to state law. So 4603 creates a where places where weapons are prohibited under the Texas Penal Code. And under 4603, A14 is the prohibition of carrying a firearm into an open meeting that comports with the Open Meetings Act. In other words, that notice has been given, then that's a so-called prohibited place. However, if you go down to what's called 4615, 4615 section B, subsection B, and I think specifically 6, states that A14 does not apply. A14 again being the open meetings, does not apply to a person who is licensed under Chapter 411 of the Government Code. In other words, you have a Texas license to carry. So really what 4603 A14 does is it only bans guns for people who are not licensed. So if you don't have a license and they post signage saying, well, they don't even have to post signage. That's the thing. If you don't have a license, they don't even have to post signage. It's a 4603 excluded place. And so my first shout out I want to give is to HBO Matt for even bringing this to my attention, because obviously I'm not down in Corpus Christi. Um, I, and others filed citizen complaints through the AG's office that they were illegally putting up signage. I also went in there and filed an open records request for their policies. And the policy doesn't actually address anything legal. And so the AG was contacted, and what happened was the chief, actually I think it's the chief deputy or deputy chief, actually told the mayor and others that he had spoken with the attorney general's office, and the attorney general's office stated that, oh no, it's perfectly legal to ban guns during an open meeting. Well, guess what? That may not have been true. The chief deputy, as do most cops, lied about facts, lied about reality, and lied to his boss, the mayor, and the city council. So we got today, and actually HBO Matt got this letter today because he did an open records request and got the letter from the attorney general's office that was sent to the city of Corpus Christi. And I want to share that with you now. This is the letter from the attorney general's office dated December 17th that we got. And as you can see here, it says that they've received citizen complaints. Again, those were from, for example, HBO Matt, me, and several other people I know for a fact that went down there, but I don't know if they want to be named or not in this. And it says, Dear Mayor Guajardo. Now, this mayor has many issues to begin with. There's all kinds of unconstitutional BS that the mayor is engaged in, not just with the Second Amendment, but with the First Amendment. She thinks that she can treat non-residents differently than residents by giving them less time to speak. And let me tell you something. If you're from Corpus Christi and you're watching this, I want to, or if you're not from Corpus Christi, but you go to Corpus Christi city council meetings because maybe you work there, maybe you have family there, or for whatever other reason, you just go to Corpus Christi a lot, right? Maybe you shop there because you live nearby or whatever. You are not required to give your address, even if they require a sign-up sheet. You are not required to give your private address to anyone in government in order to speak at an open meeting. You have a right to anonymity. There's case law on that. You have a right to anonymity. As a matter of fact, I corrected a city up north that was trying to pull that stuff, and it's unconstitutional to, under the 14th Amendment, especially, to treat people differently based on their residency and or where they come from. So here's the letter where the Texas Attorney General says that 411-209 essentially says you cannot put up signs that are more strict than state law. If you're a government entity, unless it's under 4603, you cannot put up a 30-6 or 30-7 sign, right? And so initially you would be like, well, hang on a second. 4603 says that I can't. And he goes on and talks down here where he even mentions that 4603A14 states that that includes a room or rooms where a meeting of a government entity is held, kind of like what I already talked to you about. And then, but the AG goes on, which is what all of us have been saying for a long time. I had this fight up in Tarrant County. They tried to say they could keep my gun out, even as a license holder. And I beat them up there. But apparently Corpus Christi thought that they were special. Mayor Guajardo thought that she was special. And generally tyrants think that they're special and don't have to follow the rules. So he says, however, Texas Penal Code 4615 provides an exception. Keep in mind, not a defense. And I would actually argue with the Attorney General a little bit. 4615 doesn't provide an exception. 4615 creates a non-applicability standard. So the title of Texas Penal Code 4615 is non-applicability. And if you read the heading of that, it says that, section so-and-so and so-and-so does not apply. And there's there's four standards, but there's three real standards of exceptions when it comes to the law. The first one is exceptions. So you might see a law, and then it might say it is an exception to prosecution that the actor, for example, assault, right? That the actor was a uniformed police officer engaged in the performance of his duties or something like that. It is an exception. In other words, yes, he assaulted you, but that officer under that circumstance or that person is accepted from the law because of by virtue of whatever reasoning the legislature came up with. In this case, of course, it's because they're a uniformed officer, right? And I'm not quoting any specific law. I'm just saying these are examples. So the first one you have is exceptions. The second one you have is what's called a defense. A perfect example of that is that disorderly conduct, or I'm sorry, interference, right? So interference is a crime, 3815. It's a crime, but it says it is a defense to prosecution that the interference consisted of words alone. So what a defense means is that they can prosecute you, but your attorney, your defense attorney, can argue the defense that the interference was only words. Whereas an exception, they can't even prosecute you for it. You're accepted from the law, period. Once it's known that you are one of the accepted people, or it's one of the accepted situations, there's an exception. In the defense to prosecution, they can still prosecute you, but you have a valid affirmative defense that it was words alone. And then the third is non-applicability. You don't even have to worry about whether there's an exception or a defense because the law just doesn't apply to you. For example, abortion laws, right? And let's say there's a law that says you can't get an abortion. Well, guess what? That only applies to women, right? Because a man can't get an abortion. It's impossible for a man to get pregnant, no matter what the Democrats say. And so that would be, a non-applicability if there was such a thing. But it's so obvious. I don't think there's a section under any law like that says a man can't get it. It's an exception, or this section does not apply to the abortion statute if the individual is a man, whatever. So it just doesn't apply. So that's non-applicability. So, it's a little quiver. It doesn't matter. It kind of effectively, it means the same thing, but an exception versus a non-applicability means just ignore it altogether. Exception means don't ignore it. Just make sure you're accepted. You still have to understand the law and make sure that you're accepted from it. Whereas non-applicability says it doesn't even matter. As long as you meet this criteria, you're good. It does not apply. So it's an equivocal. And I know the AG here says it provides an exception. Doesn't matter. Functionally, it means the same thing. All right. And it states that as long as you have a 4615 B6, which is the non-applicability. So I was right. Yeah, B6. 4603 A14 does not apply to a person who, and then you skip down to subsection 6, subsection A, is licensed under subchapter 11, chapter 411 of the government code. That's the license to carry code. So as long as it's concealed or in a holster. So they cannot prevent you from open carrying or concealed carrying. Okay, now if you open carry, it's got to be in a holster, or you can conceal carry. They can't prevent either open carry or conceal carry. So if you're going to a place and they're like, well, yeah, you can conceal carry, but you can't open carry, that's also a violation of the law. So the AG continues here, therefore, licensed handgun holders cannot be excluded from an open meeting. And then this is the part that I love. This is the part that I absolutely love about this letter. Our preliminary investigation has established that the Corpus Christi Police Department has and continues to deny license holders carrying a handgun from entering these meetings. While those carrying a handgun without a license can still be excluded, because that's the law. And then this next section. Furthermore, our investigation has revealed that Assistant Chief David Blackman claims to have sought an opinion from the Attorney General, but our office has been unable to confirm that such a request was submitted by the city of Corpus Christi. Interesting. So the Assistant Chief David Blackman might be wanting to look for a new job here shortly, because there are some lawsuits being contemplated right now. How do I know that? I don't know. Because of the fact that citizens were unlawfully excluded and threatened with arrest if they didn't leave. Please inform our office within 15 days of this letter if you believe there's some other reason that you don't have to follow the law. Give us the factual basis and the legal authority that you have for your. Now, it does say your county. Again, that's a minor error there. It's only the city of Corpus Christi, but the legal authority for why Corpus Christi can exclude license holders from open meetings. So this is going to be very interesting because you've got so many facets here. We tried to warn them. I drafted a letter. I sent a letter to the city. I put them on notice that what they were doing was unlawful. They ignored that letter. They continue to prevent and prohibit licensed gun owners from entering the meeting to participate. And so we've got First and Second Amendment violations going all over the place. Citizens of Corpus Christi, they expect you, the city council expects you to follow the law, but they think they're exempt from it. And they think they don't have to follow the law. And they're about to find out that they do have to follow the law. I thought that was a pretty funny letter. I think it's a great beat down. Once again, the rule of law and the Constitution survives, and it just takes citizens standing up and making us think about this, because I guarantee you they would have kept on going had people not filed complaints. And the more complaints that the Attorney General's office gets on these unlawful restrictions of gun owners, as well as free speakers, the more likely they are to pay attention to it. And in this particular case, I know of at least 6 complaints that were filed, and I don't know how many more may have been filed. But that's what it takes to get their attention. And now the city of Corpus Christi has been put on notice, and they have 15 days, which, by the way, is already expired, because that letter was dated December 17th, and they only had 15 days to provide some response. Now, I don't know if they've provided a response. I assume that that Matt may have filed an open records request to see if there was a response, maybe requesting any response from the city. I don't know if he filed that through or to the Attorney General or the city of Corpus Christi, but he's in here, he's listening. So maybe he'll be doing that to find out if they did in fact respond with their legal authority and reasoning why they think they don't have to be susceptible to the law. And I think I saw, Matt posted in there that they arrested a girl for saying "goddamn" at a meeting. Again, free speech, and they're going to FO and FA to FO because you can't do that. You can't censor speech based on content. You just can't do it. When you prohibit profanity, that is content-based discrimination and censorship, and it's in direct violation of the First Amendment. So the commies at Corpus Christi need a rude awakening. They're about to get that. The first salvo has already been, the first salvo was my demand letters initially to begin with. The second salvo was, of course, this AG letter basically telling them, you fucked up. So, fix yourself before you wreck yourself, or check yourself before you wreck yourself. And there you have it, folks. Some good information there. Good information. If you can go back and pause the video and read the letter for yourself if you live in Corpus Christi. All right, let me see really quick. We've got about 30 seconds. Just see if there's any questions here. I'll start from the bottom here. Probably no response. I asked for the letter and any other communications from the city. And all the AG sent was the letter. Okay, so they may not, but I think the 15 days just recently expired. So you may want to do another letter, another request. Because typically what these governments will do, if they're giving 30, every single one of my lawsuits, like when I send them a request for a waiver of service of process on a lawsuit, generally they have about 30 days to return that. I will get it on day 29 or 30. So they probably, if they sent it on day 15, right? So you've always got to wait until the actual expiration date. CJ has an obligation to follow their writing when acting as an attorney. We as people have no obligation to follow the government's writings, rules, or procedures. I have to follow what writing? What are they talking about? CJ has an obligation to follow their writing when acting as an attorney. We have no obligation to follow the government's writing rules or procedures. No, I only have an obligation to file lawful writings. I have no obligation to file, and I will say that people absolutely do have an obligation to follow government writings, rules, or procedures, provided they are constitutional. So that attitude is probably going to get you in trouble, and you're going to need an attorney. So you might want to start saving up, maybe get a savings account if you don't believe that the writings, rules, and procedures apply to you, because I promise you they do. I promise you they do, as long as they are constitutional. All right, let's see. Hello, hey, Hawkwind. Let's see. All right, I'm not going to say hi to everybody because it's a lot of people. Blah, blah, blah. I don't see any other questions in here, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video. You guys, someone in here did say never sign a sign-in sheet. Oh, in Georgia. I don't know what that means. Just putting like a first name is fine. You can even put a nickname. That's not a problem either. It is an official government document, so don't lie on it. But yeah, definitely don't give your address or any identifying information. I do sometimes. I never give my address, though. If the cop lied to the city manager and our city council, he should be fired. Absolutely. Brady listed? Absolutely. I think. And it looks like that's everything. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you just joining us, I posted a great letter here. You guys take care. Be safe. Be free. Always stand on your rights. Always fight against tyranny. And always drink Dr. Pepper. Something new there.